was a poll done recently, and a bunch of different places covered it. It says only 16% of Americans say that Disney content is better than it was in the past. And no shock to anyone, 65% of Republicans say that the content is worse. Kellen, do you agree with that statement?
Let's see. Well, can you pull it up for me so I can read it?
I've got it on. I sent it to you.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. 16%, right, of Americans say Disney content is better than it was in the past. Mm-hmm. What's the past?
I mean, probably prior to 2016.
It's tough because certain areas they're learning from their mistakes, and then other areas they're doubling down. You know, so I'm gonna say no. I don't think it's better.
Well, yeah, no, I would imagine that most people don't, right? Do you have a high hopes?
Better is such a subjective, like better how?
29% say that it has improved. That really depends on what your take on it is. But I would say, like, did 2024 give you any high hopes for it? Like Disney, say what you want about the Acolyte bombing in the way that it did. Disney had $3 billion movies in 2024.
Which ones?
There was Inside Out 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, and Moana 2. Moana 2 just hit $1 billion.
Okay, so yeah, again, I think this is like, there's no easy answer to this question because, like, if we're talking about Marvel, they pumped the brakes. They did a fan favorite film that they knew, everyone was gonna love. Moana 2, I went out and saw that, and I mean, it's a kids movie, but it didn't seem like too crazy. There wasn't any like weird messaging that was apparent to me.
Well, that's what people were saying is that so right now there have been endless articles and videos made about Disney has gotten more into making sure that their content is not being used as propaganda, which they did for Inside Out 2. They cut storylines. They've been doing the same thing over at Pixar lately, and they want to make stories that are accessible to everyone rather than telling autobiographical stories that don't really resonate with people outside of a small group.
I think I'm yet to, like, I'm kind of just, I don't know. The jury's still out for me.
Yeah.
I think we're trending.
Who is doing other than Apple TV, who is doing entertainment well for you?
That's a tough question.
Like, do you think of it by studio, or do you just think of it as random projects?
I think I feel like almost everybody, because, like, we're in the era of streaming. So I think if you look at all the different services, right, I do feel like it's a scattershot where they're just throwing everything they can at the wall, and sometimes things stick, right? Like, I'm watching American Primeval on Netflix right now. Pretty good. Apple TV, most of their stuff, pretty good. But, then you'll see something that's just totally garbage. Yeah. So it's tough. You're really well read on, like, the directors and the actual production houses and who's making these projects. I'm sure I'd get a better answer of who's doing good or bad.
Well, so what beyond American Primeval, what have you been watching lately?
So Severance.
Yeah.
I just got into Severance.
I will never have Apple TV. I don't care what anybody says.
Listen, Apple TV, it's like they're really going hard on the sci-fi stuff, and I love that.
In the chat, Jessica B says Disney is only changing because they have to. Well, yeah, I mean, that to me is exactly what you want to do. When people say vote with your wallets, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. If they're not making content that speaks to you, speaks to your morals, speaks to your, like, what you want to see in entertainment, then the best thing you can do is to not purchase it and wait for them to change.
I've been watching a lot of, so it is football season.
Or maybe not wait for them to change, but hope that they change.
Usually when I go home and I turn on the TV, it's either football or, like, I've been watching a lot of Expedition Unknown. So, like, history kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think there's, like, if someone was like, hey, listen, I only got enough money for one streaming service, where do I go? I don't know if I have an answer for them. I probably Netflix because they are still the kings. They have so much.
Well, that was the other article that I had pulled up for today, which we ended up not choosing to cover, was this one about how Breitbart reached out to Netflix and asked if they, with the election of Donald Trump, are you going to walk back your policies like DEI? Are you going to stop hanging out with the Obamas? Are you going to stop talking about Harry and Meghan? And they didn't respond. And for the most part, Netflix, Ted Sarandos and them, they're friendly with Trump now. Or Reed Hastings at least I think he donated money to the inauguration. I could be misremembering that. But the point is they want to get on Trump's good side. They took trips to Mar-a-Lago. And the point is that they don't really have to change because, like Netflix or not, and I know I can guess right now that most of the people in this chat chat do not like them, Netflix is the big streaming service more than any other. So if you follow Samba TV, which is like the internet version of Nielsen, keeps track of the best shows and what the ratings are in streaming.
It's all like Netflix, right?
Netflix is consistently the top 6, 7, or 8 numbers on that site. So somewhere in those top 8, 7 or 8 of them are usually Netflix shows.
I'm trying to pull up the Samba TV charts just to see if there's.
I would go look them up on like X or on Instagram.
Yeah, I guess Netflix. Here's the thing with their statement about they're like, because they said they're not changing course, right?
Well, they didn't say as much. They just didn't answer the question, and like they don't have to change.
Because I'm looking at it this way: how much money do you have tied up in projects that haven't been released yet? So, like, if the question really comes down to, are you going to waste a bunch of money? The answer's no. You know, like, hey, maybe for future projects we'll plan differently.
Wastes millions upon millions of dollars on shows that no one watches.
Yes, but like the amount of money, this Meghan Markle deal, right? The amount of money, if they just stopped it, that they'd lose. Like, it's not just a failed project. Yeah. It's like, this was a huge deal. And so they have stuff like that. And you can't, it's better to, I think it's better to.
Even if they were gonna change, it would take 2 years to notice the changes anyways, because so many projects are already in production right now.
Right. So I think they realize, this is my more like, maybe it's a naive take, but I think, they're like, hey, we went the wrong direction, but we have a bunch of money tied up, and getting some return on these failed projects is better than no return. I say failed as like stuff that, no one really wants to watch, or stuff that makes people roll their eyes. But I think it's better that, they could write it off, I guess, right? That
doesn't matter because they've already paid them in the deal. So
yeah,
like, Harry and
you got to use it somehow. Yeah. But I would still say, if someone wants to, like, they've got one streaming service to choose from, I'd say Netflix or Max probably. I think Max has a good. It's just not a lot there, but they do have a decent amount. It really depends what you're into.
Amazon Prime is the one you want.
I've heard Paramount. People
Amazon
like
Prime
Paramount.
If you like, so Amazon Prime has the absolute worst user interface of any of the streaming services by far. But right now, and remember, everybody is algorithmically programmed, right?
Oh, I hope that doesn't come to streaming services. I know it is a little bit.
What?
Like recommendations based on algorithms.
That's the whole point, right? Is whatever you like, your top 3 charts in your streaming services, like on Amazon, will be ones that are catered to like the things that you usually watch. So I see stuff that is preferential to me, and a huge amount of the stuff on Amazon Prime is stuff that I'm either rewatching because I've already enjoyed it and watched it before, or it's something that's new and I actually want to watch it. And I used to rank Amazon towards the bottom because I hated the user interface so much. Hulu is consistently the best because
Hulu's good.
As far as the genres of television that I actually like to watch, it has the widest selection, especially the old Fox stuff, because it's owned by Disney. The old 20th Century Fox shows that they have under license are all there. So if I told you to get one, I would tell you to get Amazon Prime.
With the Hulu, though, I think a big part of their success is FX and the shows they get from the FX network. If FX were to move its content, I think we'd have a totally different conversation about Hulu.
A lot of the FX shows are over on Hulu.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If they moved their shows
Justified.
to a different platform, right? I don't know if we'd be
then it would
praising
be like
Hulu
AMC
as much.
Plus or Stars. Like, do you know anybody who has Stars?
Oh, yes, because Outlander is on Stars.
Okay.
But I think Outlander just returned to Netflix a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think we're trending in the right direction. I think kind of the bloat of the streaming services and the terrible decisions being made, I think we're trending in the right direction, but I don't think it's much better than it has been.
Disney is like, as far as like selection goes, Disney is where you go if you want exactly one type of thing. I mean, like, if you're a Marvel guy, you go to Disney. If you like Star Wars, I guess you go to Disney. I don't know why you wouldn't just own that stuff on physical on physical media anyways. But like, I don't want to buy 37 Marvel movies, but I understand buying the original, the first 6 Star Wars movies, and then none of the rest. But you can watch, like, for instance, I am going to be rewatching Daredevil, in the next month or so that I can get ready to watch Daredevil Born Again. But the only time I ever watch Disney Plus is if I get a weird desire to watch a random Marvel movie every 4 months.
So I have a question. So the new Captain America movie is set to come out on Valentine's Day, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
You think it's good or bad? Like, I don't really see that as like a romantic date night movie.
It's not about that. It's about Black History Month.
Is that?
Yeah. They did the same thing with Black Panther.
Why Valentine's Day though?
It's that, or it's any other day in that month. I don't know what the other. You'd probably most likely, if you look at the releases on the other days, there's competition there that they were probably trying to avoid. I don't know that for sure, but I would imagine that's why. But they did the same thing with Wakanda Forever in the first Black Panther, which is released it in February.
And what other projects is 2025 going to see?
Thunderbolts comes out in 2025. That one actually has an organic amount of not huge buzz, but people are probably more or less looking forward to that more than they are Captain America, given the amount of, I'm speaking solely for the people in this space, but lots of reshoots. They've spent gazillions of dollars on the new Captain America movie. They've rewritten it like 2 or 3 times. There's not a lot of organic interest there for that movie the way that there was for the original Captain America trilogy. So, and of course, we're not getting Blade this year. So we got that, and we've got Fantastic Four.
And I think now that Fantastic Four, I'm looking forward to that one, even though, this is the 3rd time they're trying Fantastic Four, like 3rd reboot, 4th reboot.
They're saying it's a 3-day weekend that weekend.
Oh, okay.
So that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like worried about Captain America, but I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, it's not going to make the money it needs to make. There's no way there's not enough hype for it to make the $1 billion or more that it needs to make to break even.
Yeah, I'm happy they're putting out less though, and kind of reevaluating. It seems like with the Marvel franchise.
We will. So look, the Daredevil trailer was really, really good. I actually ended up doing a thing where I filmed a reaction to it, and I just wasn't able to give it the oomph that it needed to. I'm not a reaction content person. I can't do that. Literally that right there. That. I can't do that. I'm not capable. I can do it when we're doing the show and I'm actually organically engaged. But most of the time, I don't want to like watch the trailer for the first time and record my reaction. I want to watch the trailer for the first time, on my own, and then go back through and reanalyze it. But when I do that, it doesn't have what everybody's looking for there, which is like Daredevil breaks a dude's arm in half and everyone goes, "Oh!"
Yeah.
Like,
whoa!
Which I love. Actually, they did a really great thing in that trailer where he breaks a dude's arm like this and pushes it through the bone, but he's wearing a long sleeve shirt, so all you see is the blood soaked through the shirt.
So is this going to be dark and gritty?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be great. I don't know how they're going to adapt that storyline, but it's definitely not going to be the same one from the comics.
We were talking before how like Marvel's kind of gotten too big for its own good, right? Now all these characters are like world destroyers basically, and it's like, how do you really make a good movie when everyone's just extremely powerful like that? I think they should lean on the street level heroes, and you and I were kind of talking about this because I find it more interesting when they do character development for like Daredevil, and then at the end of the season you're like, oh, this kind of touches like. This is how this story kind of like relates to the larger Thor or Iron Man. I like seeing it's like the details in the MCU.
If they keep the identity politics out of Captain America, I saw Luffy trolling in the chat. If they keep the identity politics out of Captain America: Brave New World, I'm sure I will be okay with it. I'm sure it will be fine as a perfectly acceptable piece of box office slop. Big budget slop as it is, but it's got everything working against it. Now I'm way more excited for Daredevil Born Again.
Okay. Is he supposed to be in any movies?
I think they said, okay, so every time there's a new Daredevil coming up, there's a bunch of like articles written about how he might appear in the next Avengers movie. Okay. Whether that actually whether he actually shows up in Avengers Doomsday or not, I have no idea. But Charlie Cox says Matt Murdock is the best of the best.
They kind of hurt themselves with those reveals with the new Avengers, Avengers 5, like, and the Doomsday.
You mean the Robert Downey Jr. one?
They kind of hurt themselves because now people are just like, I just want to get through these projects to get to that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's at least how I feel.
I did see that Josh Brolin shared some Dark Side fan art or something the other day, so now people were like wondering whether he's going to play both Thanos and Darkseid, which would be hilarious, but we'll wait and see. I really think that this year, so here's the thing, just to finish up. when it comes to Disney, $3 billion movies in 1 year is huge. They've got 32 of the 56 or so. There's been 50 something $1 billion movies in history. 32 of them or something are Disney. Disney's power at the box office is not to be discounted. The issue is that you cannot rebuild public trust in a company in just 1 year. It's going to take multiple years of multiple $1 billion movies, hit after hit after hit, if you want to rebuild public confidence in that. And I don't even know on the offset that that's even possible with Marvel, because there's a lot of apathy. We've talked about how when they announced upcoming Marvel movies, a lot of people didn't even know what was going on past Endgame. They're like, are they still making those movies? So, the fact that all of your art now requires people to basically have to do homework to watch the movies by watching 8,000 TV shows works against you. I don't think that poll does anything to really help bolster the idea that Disney's on its way back, but we will have to wait and see.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.